Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for watching another edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by Oshkosh City Manager Mark Roloff. In the first half of today's show, we'll bring you up to date on some municipal news updates, including some items from city departments and a look at what's important for local residents to be aware of. In the second half of the show, we'll highlight some items from the upcoming Tuesday, January 11th Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in City Manager Mark Roloff. And Mark, thanks for being here today.
Great to be here, Andy.
All right. Well, we have a lot of different topics to talk about in the first half of the show. One thing that maybe folks weren't really aware of, a lot of times things happen behind the scenes and they just don't know about these things that happen. There was a potential emergency that was avoided.
Yeah, this had to do with water back in December, and a lot of these things happen behind the scenes you don't know about, but I'm so proud of the employees and their quick action that I really felt it was necessary to talk about. There was a contractor doing some work for a utility company, and they hit an 8-inch water service on the southwest side of Oshkosh. An 8-inch water service is a pretty sizable water service, and when it did, it started to effectively drain our water tower. Yeah. Fortunately, one of our public works employees, not working on this work project or doing any inspection on this, was inspecting on another job in the distance and could tell something was going on.
Okay.
So he just, he didn't have to do this. He just was just too curious, and so went over there and he intervened and said, "You really need to do something about this." And he called his supervisor, and that started the wheels in motion on one side of it to get that water shut off because the water was going out. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, another one of our employees at the water filtration plant monitors our dials and switches and everything at our water filtration plant, including all the levels in our water tower, and noticed that there was a significant drop in water. And at this time of year, you don't see that drop. You might see that in the summer or something but this was drastic drop. She notified her supervisor and dispatched people to essentially shut off the water tower from putting any more water out. I would say we were 5 minutes away from what we call losing the water tower. It would have lost all its pressure in the southwest part of the city. Anytime we get below 20 pounds per square inch in a water pipe, we have to issue what's called a boil water order. We haven't had to do a single one in the 13 years I've been here, Andy, and I've been through them before in my career, and they are not pleasant.
Okay.
The quick action of these employees prevented this type of water emergency from happening. And, we don't know. There's a lot of stuff we do behind the scenes, and we take it for granted sometimes, but this is water that is, it means everything for our day-by-day activities, and this is just one example of a water main break that happens in the winter, and you see a lot of water, and the one that we're talking about was a lot worse than this.
Okay.
But our guys go out there, they get their hands wet and dirty and cold, but they still do it. The quick action of our employees literally prevented an emergency right during the Christmas season. I can't say enough about our people and their dedication and taking quick action without worrying about the repercussions or anything. So my hat's off to them, and I can assure the residents that this is something we do every single day.
Sure. Well, what's the phrase? If you see something, say something. I guess that translated in this circumstance.
That absolutely is appropriate in this case. So kudos to our employees for speaking up. And yeah, take a look at the work these guys are doing. This is nasty work, and it's cold. This is probably done when it's probably that was probably done when it was in the 20s or something.
Sure.
It's a lot colder in some places, and that water just gets you. And our folks are right there taking care of things.
Well, a job nicely done. All right. Well, we have some other programs coming up to inform the viewers about. There's some informational sessions that are planned about some loans and incentive programs that the City of Oshkosh offers to homeowners.
Our Community Development Department reaches out to our neighborhood associations to help encourage their neighbors to know about these programs. And we also reach out to the lending community because they know people who are looking at doing things, wanting to buy homes, rehab their homes. And we have a whole bunch of different programs. Some of our programs include something we call it's called Sold on Oshkosh. That's a $5,000 grant for a home purchase that's forgivable after 5 years. If you meet certain criteria, we can provide you that. We want you to build a house or purchase a house in the city of Oshkosh. If you have an eligible property and you want to make improvements to the exterior, we have a program called Curb Appeal. 10-year loan up to $10,000 to really spruce up your house, 0% interest for 10 years.
That's great.
Yeah, and there's more loans and incentives that we'll talk about with this program. But we want to get home buyers and owners to come to one of our programs, and then the realtors, bankers, investors, the professionals that serve potential homeowners another day. So session 1 is going to be January 12th at 6 p.m. And we're going to be session 2 is going to be January 13th at 11:30 a.m. This is an online program, so give Ann Schaefer a call. And in case you can't read the number, I'll read it off for you. It's 232-5306. Just let Ann know that you'd like to participate. Let her know if you're a potential home buyer owner or if you're a banker, realtor, something like that. So we get you registered for the right session. And we want you to know about these programs. They can save you money when you buy, remodel, or invest in your home.
And please contact Ann by January 11th. That's the deadline for the pre-registration for these sessions. But they look to be very interesting, and I know they did one of these in the past, and it was very popular, so they're doing it again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great program. Great stuff to learn about, even if you just use it for future reference.
Okay. All right. And kind of staying on that housing topic, this is different than what we had just talked about right now, but there has been a housing study that is currently in a draft status. And there's an open house that's scheduled for public feedback about this draft housing study for the city of Oshkosh.
Yeah, the goal of this is to make housing more affordable and identify ways we can make housing more affordable and available, especially for workforce housing. You know, a challenge right now is finding good workers, and attracting people from outside the area is important. But if they can't find housing, they're not going to take the job. So we're holding an open house. It's going to be over at the Oshkosh Convention Center on Monday, January 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. The idea is for us to have people take a look at this, give us their comments on things we can do to help make housing more affordable. We know that we have gaps in housing, primarily on the very low and the very high end. But we want to hear from people what they think about what we can do to improve the availability and the affordability of our housing stock. We're going to get public input with this, and then our goal will be to take that public input, take a look at things we might want to tweak with the strategic plan, and then give it to council for possible final adoption in March.
Okay, we're in some unique times in this kind of topic area right now, and I think staff might also be sharing some of the challenges that we face at this time too. But open to public feedback. Again, that is January 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Convention Center. Okay, another activity that's coming up downtown actually is over at Rowe Park, which is close to the downtown YMCA, a new ice rink.
Yeah, through the cooperation and generosity of the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, they've made this turn of changeover of Rowe Park into an ice skating rink for wintertime. And it is over by the downtown YMCA. And we've gotten some other folks together. We've got Dr. Eric Skate Club that on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights from 4 to 7 p.m., Dr. Eric Skate Club will provide free skates to people who may not have skates hanging in their garage or something like that. There are going to be special events planned throughout the season, including a luau night, a little salute to the Winter Olympics, and the Oshkosh Parks Department's Facebook page. There's lots of information. The rink is scheduled to open the week of January 10th now. That's a little tweak. There was something that had been scheduled for January 7th that was postponed because the rink isn't quite ready yet. They're going to try to move it to January 14th, so keep an eye out for our Parks Department Facebook page, and we'll let you know if the event is going to continue, but should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that was a superhero night that they're moving to January 17th. So they have some other things, as you mentioned, a lot of different things coming up. And I know that the Parks Department is also working in cooperation with the Oshkosh Rec Department on this as well. So some great partnerships there.
And once it opens, it'll stay open, and it'll be open daily as weather and ice conditions permit. So if you have your own skates, you can go right on over there and skate away. It's just that Dr. Eric's Skate Club is pretty cool about making them available on weekend nights.
Right. Okay, and we'll keep everyone updated on things that are happening with that as well. Okay, well, we have some work that's been going on around the city. Even though it's winter, work is being done with Terrace Trees and some trimming and some things like that. Yeah,
our forestry division continues to work on Terrace Trees. The northeast side of the city, we're doing a lot of tree pruning right now, and as weather permits, they'll keep doing that. We've got about 2,000 terrace trees in that northeast region. And at the same time, and I think this is what this video is from, removal of trees that have been damaged by the emerald ash borer.
That's right.
Are going to continue to be going on. We've really seen a big increase in the damage that the emerald ash borer has done. So unfortunately, we're taking those trees out. We have a long-term plan to replace those trees eventually, but we really have to do it to eradicate this this terrible disease or the infestation, in this case with the emerald ash borer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. You walk around different areas of the city and you really see those trees suffering. So parks will be pretty busy with removal of a lot of those trees. So, but just so folks are aware that this work is being done, and it will continue as weather permits throughout the winter. Okay, speaking of trees, people are probably looking to dispose of their Christmas tree, and we have recently had 1 week where trees are being picked up, but there's another week coming up.
We give everybody one more week to get the ornaments off their trees and everything, but the next collection week will be January 17th through 21st. They must be removed from their plastic bags, so we ask you not to do that. We ask you to just place the tree on the terrace or your driveway apron no later than 7 a.m. on your scheduled garbage collection day. Mm-hmm. Please make sure that if it's snowed recently that your tree isn't covered in snow. We do not collect artificial or flock trees. We're just taking natural green trees. Mm-hmm. And of course, remove all the decorations and lights in the tree stand so you have them for next Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, don't bury it by snow. Wreaths, garland, or swags that have that metal frame and artificial trees, that's really garbage. That should be put in the garbage cart. Please don't put them out for the general tree pickup. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to wait for January 17th to 21st, you can also, with your permit, you can drop off at the city's yard waste drop-off site and drop off your tree.
Mm-hmm. Okay, some good reminders. And watch our Oshkosh Media social media for updates as this comes around as well. So if folks dispose of their Christmas tree, but they're still sad, they want a little bit of Christmas, there's still an opportunity at the Oshkosh Public Museum.
The White Christmas exhibit is doing very, very well, and it's actually been extended to February 13th. So if you haven't had a chance to visit it so far, it'll be on display through February 13th. Mm-hmm. We've had over 6,300 tickets sold. So basically, 10% of our entire city has gone to see this display since it opened in mid-November. I know there are a lot of people who love the nostalgia of the White Christmas. The museum recommends, if you want to go do this, purchase your tickets in advance. You can visit oshkoshmuseum.org for details. That really manages the crowds. It gets you through a lot quicker without waiting in line. And we're still trying to encourage social distancing and everything. So we will make it a very good experience. I scheduled my time, and I was able to have plenty of space between me and other guests who were visiting the museum. I highly recommend it and had a lot of fun.
All right, well, comes highly recommended, so check it out if you haven't had the chance, the White Christmas exhibit at the Oshkosh Public Museum. Okay, and then as far as COVID-19, I know that we're still masking up in city buildings. Any updates for us in that area?
Well, I just got a report from our health department where virtually every area of Winnebago County is in the critically high category, up from very high. The Theta Care group has had community conversations where they said that the Omicron variant has been the primary reason for this big increase, and they highly encourage getting a vaccine. If you get your vaccine or get your booster, you're 75% effective against getting the COVID with the booster vaccine. If you only have your 2 doses, you're only 35% protected against the Omicron variant. So it's very important that you do get that booster shot to give your chances of not getting COVID much better. So we encourage you to get the vaccine. Check out wcvaccine.org. That's where you can get information about where you can get your vaccine and booster shot information. They're still free, and free transportation to vaccination appointments you can do on Go Transit. We will gladly have you jump on board and we'll get you to your vaccine destination. So just let our driver know. So that's it, and please look to get vaccinated and wear your mask whenever possible.
Okay. Well, Mark, thanks for those updates, and it looks like it's time for us to take a short break. And please stay with us for some highlights from the upcoming Tuesday, January 11th Common Council meeting. You're watching the City Managers Report.
This winter, pay attention, go slow, and stay in control while driving on Wisconsin roadways.
And welcome back to the City Managers Report. I'm Andy Radig, along with City Manager Mark Roloff. Let's turn our attention to the agenda items from the upcoming January 11th Oshkosh Common Council meeting. So, Mark, we have some different things coming up on the agenda. We're starting off with a workshop session about the Clearwell project, an update on that.
Well, a lot of people may not be familiar with this project, so briefly, we have clear wells that are large wells that are located right adjacent to our water treatment plant, and they're over 100 years old. They do not meet code, and the Department of Natural Resources has said that we need to raise those tanks from being below the lake level to above lake level. So that's been the process. Unfortunately, one of the problems with raising those tanks up, it's right along the waterfront, and it's going to be a disruption, a visual disruption to a lot of people, and we certainly understand that. We've had stakeholder meetings over the last couple of years. We had our most recent one back in October, and we collected a lot of questions and concerns. And obviously, with the what you can see from the video displays here, they are much more disruptive than underground tanks. So we took a look at different ideas and options. We got a lot of questions, a lot of feedback. We provided a first set of questions that are already online, and anybody can look at those. But we also have other questions and follow-up questions that happened since then, and we're going to be publishing those as well. But since that October meeting, the council has not discussed this. So we want to brief them on where we are and what our next steps are, because we continue to field questions, but we need to update council on these questions, and then they can take that information in, and at a subsequent meeting, give us some direction on what they would like to see in terms of what we can do, what what the tanks will look like and things like that. So we've been considering a lot of different options, and I think we'll have some good discussion points for Tuesday, and then follow up with some action at a future meeting.
Okay, and so really a lot of this is engineering work that's happening at the moment.
Yeah, it's a lot of engineering, but eventually we'll get into the landscaping things. That's a little premature, but we've gotten more input from people that really want to see what we can do to minimize the impact. And you can see just some of the areas here. We have a very cramped plant there, and so we have limited wiggle room in what we can do. We're kind of painted ourselves into a corner when we this water plant was built by a private company over 150 years ago. So once we've made the decision to be there, we kind of have to work within our framework. So, but I know residents are very passionate about this, and we want to try to address their concerns.
Okay, and we'll keep everyone informed of the next steps as they come along. All right, there's another agenda item. It looks like some of our road construction is coming around. Algoma Boulevard will be one of the larger projects this year.
At long last, Algoma Boulevard from Wisconsin to Congress Avenue through the university area is scheduled to be done. We did get some pretty decent bids. A couple areas higher, most areas lower. Overall, it's under budget, but and we're very fortunate of that. But we kept our numbers really, we kept an eye on numbers because of everything that's been going on. Most bids have been coming in really high lately, so we tightened up the numbers. But this means that Algoma Boulevard is planned to be done this summer, and I know a lot of people will be happy about that.
They'll be happy about that for sure. Okay. And then there's another item for a new, is it a stormwater detention basin?
Yeah, this is a professional services agreement to get the project rolling.
Okay.
You may recall that almost 10 years ago now, we did what was called the James Road Stormwater Detention Pond. That's to benefit the Sawyer Creek area, and we've got a lot of projects in the Sawyer Creek area because that's our largest watershed in the entire city. This is one of the examples of one of our Sawyer Creek watersheds. This is over in the West Haven area. This is over at Campbell Creek. I'm sorry. This is over right behind Best Buy. But this is an example of what our ponds look like. And they hold the water back for a time being. We have so much, Sawyer Creek is so large that we need yet another large pond. So this is going to be over in the neighborhood of like Clairville Road between Highway 91 and 20th Avenue.
Okay.
So this will get the process started to identify the real estate that we need and get some of the testing and approvals and review things that have to get done by the Department of Natural Resources and whatnot.
Okay, all right. Another long process with that. We'll keep everyone updated as it moves along. Okay, and then we have another item, approval of a historic Jackson neighborhood plan.
The Historic Jackson Street Neighborhood Association has been working on a plan, and what this does is it identifies goals and objectives that they would like to reach and what it may take to reach some of those goals. So Historic Jackson Street really is one of the narrowest corridors, but you can see all the different neighborhoods that are around the Historic Jackson Street corridor, which is in the middle here. But there's, it's a big corridor because of Jackson Street itself.
Sure.
We put up some signs this year and put it on a road diet, and this gives a little more depth to what the neighbors in this neighborhood association would like to see. So this will qualify them for other grants and things like that. But if you are jealous of the Historic Jackson Street folks and you want your own neighborhood association, contact Planning Services, 236-5126, and they will put you in touch with people that will help you form your own neighborhood association, and maybe you can do some of the wonderful things just like the Historic Jackson Street neighborhood.
Well, there's a lot of information out there, and as that map showed, there are several neighborhood associations, so it's a great thing to get involved in and really improves our neighborhoods. Okay, and a little bit later in the agenda, we have a zone change, and this is over kind of by the Interstate 41 corridor.
It is. It's between 9th and Witzel on Keller, and this is where the former Golden Corral site was. I mean, you can still see the remnants of the restaurant, but it's being proposed to be divided into two, and we know one of the restaurants. We don't know the other one, but the first one is a Panda Express, and I know there's a lot of fans of Panda Express. We're so happy to see it come here. This is a real preliminary rendering, and the Plan Commission had some concerns, but these days drive-thrus are so popular because of everything going on.
Sure.
And we've been pretty restrictive when it comes to drive-thrus, and we're starting to revisit that because of trends that we're seeing. But this is just an idea, but you'll see more. This is really just to get the zoning chart started. You'll see a general development plan and eventually a whole blown site plan for this site. But we're excited to be able to work with the property owners there to get this project rolling along.
Any clues on what that other business might be?
I'm not being coy. I have no idea whatsoever.
Okay.
But I think the Panda Express, I think, is going to be the big seller, and that'll certainly attract other restaurants. But apparently it's proposed as another type of fast food type of restaurant.
Okay, very good. We'll keep an eye on that. All right, under new resolutions, we have approved a land acquisition, and this is part of the day-by-day warming shelter.
Yeah, this is property at the corner of Broad Street and CP Avenue. It's currently owned by the Oshkosh Housing Authority, and it's been owned by them for a number of years. Day-by-Day Warming Shelter has identified this as a site that they would like to put a permanent year-round facility, and the way the project is intended to work, the transaction is the Housing Authority would sell it to the city. We'll use our community development block grant dollars for low and moderate income individuals to purchase the land, and then we would sell it to the day-by-day shelter for $1. They still have a lot of work to do. They've still got to finish their fundraising efforts and things like this.
Okay.
But this will line up the real estate side of it. Now, at the same time, there are some people who don't feel that this is the best location, and that's a debatable thing. I think it would serve well this area, but some people just have a general disagreement, and I think you're going to see people at the meeting expressing that concern. But staff believes it's an appropriate use, and this just gets the ball rolling on if they do all their fundraising, the land transaction can take place.
And it's really all about finding solutions.
It really is, but I think we all recognize, and Council gave me a goal of working with community groups about addressing homelessness, and there's been a coalition of different groups that have formed, and one of their top 5 priorities was getting a permanent home for day-by-day warming shelter. They've had their eyes on this site for the past 5 years. They've got the board leadership, the executive leadership, and they're getting the funding lined up to get this all done. So I think we're getting close to making a decision about this, but clearly this is a need in our community, and while we don't like to talk about it a lot, it's a very real issue that we need to and want to address.
Okay. Also under new resolutions, there's an item for an adjustment to a policy for lead service line replacement.
Yeah, the council a couple of years ago accepted a grant to offer to replace lead service lines. That's going from basically the curb into your home if you have a lead service line. And about at that time, the grant was sufficient enough that we could cover about 50% of the cost for a $3,000 replacement. We've gotten a couple additions to that grant program, and we're real happy with it, but the cost has been going up as of late, and so the average cost is now $4,000 or even more. So what we're recommending is we get it was always intended to be a 50% match, so we're suggesting that the match from the city go from $1,500 to $2,000, and we'll get back to about half of that cost. This is all the intricate details of replacing the lead service lateral. So it's a lot of work, and it can be expensive, and some of these areas are people where they're not as expensive homes, and a $4,000 bill could be quite a hit to them. So if we can ease that with a $2,000 grant, we're happy to do that, and that's what staff's going to be recommending.
Well, every little bit helps. So, all right. Well, thanks, Mark, for your insights today. We really appreciate it.
Always happy to do it, Andy.
All right. Well, and thank you for joining us today. And again, this Oshkosh Common Council meeting is coming up on Tuesday, January 11th at 6 p.m. That's in person at City Hall. with the option for remote participation by the public, and you can watch it live on GovTV, which is Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen to it on the radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for phones and tablets. So you can always view through your favorite streaming device, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV. Just search for the Oshkosh Media app. And join us again in 2 weeks for another City Managers Report. Thanks for watching.